Do you want to watch the Rittenhouse video first, and then we like?
Oh yeah, let's watch this
yeah.
first. This is kind of funny video. This is not from today. This is from a few days ago, where they're talking about the whole like, should they be labeled as victims? Is someone should be labeled as aggressor and whatnot? And the state says like the craziest thing, and the judge is like, "What are you talking about?" And they're arguing right now about whether it matters who aggresses on who in terms of a self-defense claim.
So I'm assuming some of these super chats that we're reading today will have to do with the Young Turks, Anna Kasparian, and Cenk Uygur. We covered a video on Sunday where they were making wild claims about the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Yeah, they were completely insane,
out of control.
Yeah. So this is the accompanying super chats to that live stream, but we'll watch this and then we can move on.
So what is the essential element that the defense is trying to prove here? Who was the aggressor? I think on that issue,
I disagree, Your Honor. I think that's part of it, but we have a person armed with an AR-15 shooting an unarmed man.
An unarmed man can't be an aggressor?
I don't think it matters whether he is. I don't think you get to kill somebody with a gun when they're unarmed, even if they're the aggressor. I mean, let's think about a bar fight, Your Honor. We have a lot of bar fights in our community.
Let's not talk about a bar fight. This isn't a bar fight. This was a bar fight that the Supreme Court is talking about.
Sure.
It's not a bar fight.
So just that's the defense. That was not the defense. I'm sorry. That's the state. That's the prosecutor saying, I don't think it's ever justified for an armed person to shoot an unarmed person.
Yeah.
This is what? Are you serious?
I love that the judge is like, an unarmed person can't be the aggressor. That's the whole point. He was trying to grab his gun. He was trying to go from unarmed to armed and shoot you. So many of these incidents are people are shot with their own guns.
I know.
Because the aggressor takes the gun away from them. The first day in gun class, they teach you don't want to get shot with your own gun. It's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, and I think actually they're, it's so funny because when gun control advocates would kind of fight back against people using guns for home invasions and stuff, they used to throw out, there's some stat that was it's more likely that you would, if you pull a gun on someone who's trying to rob you, it's more likely that you'll end up getting shot with your own gun.
Yes.
They used to be like a stat they would throw around all the time. And now it's like, oh, wow, if you're unarmed against an armed person, you can't possibly be the aggressor.
Yeah, it's completely ludicrous. Yeah.
You've got an armed person shooting an unarmed person, Your Honor.
Right.
That's the question.
Does that mean it shouldn't even go to the jury? I'll just take it away from him and tell him he's guilty?
No, I'm saying that the issue is whether or not deadly force was justified. Was there a risk of great bodily harm or death to the defendant at that time? That's the question.
And one of the factors in that is who is the aggressor?
I think the aggressor issue, it can preclude the defendant from presenting self-defense.
Probably.
But I don't think otherwise it has an impact on it.
It's not a factor to be considered?
Only if it precludes the defendant from presenting self-defense. I don't think it has any other... I don't think it bears on the use of deadly force and whether or not the defendant was at risk of great bodily harm or death.
How not? How not? Listen. If the person is the aggressor, that has to do with whether or not they are in fear of great bodily harm, does it not? Like if the person is not the aggressor, you wouldn't be in fear.
Well, it's so for those that are just listening, the state is trying to argue that the defense should not be talking about who is the aggressor in the conflict because that's not apparently relevant to the trial.
That's ridiculous. This whole case is about who's the aggressor.
Oh my God.
This whole case hinges on who the aggressor is. That's why it's so awesome that the judge basically says, oh, so I should just find him guilty and would not even have a trial. Like, what do we do? What's the whole point of this fucking trial? You moron.
I think whether he's the aggressor or the other side is the aggressor, changes that equation. The central question is, was he at risk of great bodily harm or death?
That's a jury question. It goes to the reasonableness.
This is the Kyle's attorney.
Yeah, the defense attorney.
I mean, if a jury doesn't think that an armed man with an AK or a AR-15 shooting an unarmed man is reasonable, then that's the finding that they make. But to say, I'm not totally following the argument that he's...
Your question is really suggesting to me that the jury cannot acquit the defendant because he had the gun and the other man didn't. Do you think that's consistent with our law?
Your Honor, I'm going to take a look at the jury instructions here on...
Okay, that was the...
You think
he kind of goes off of the jury instructions.
You think that's consistent with our law? Come on. Come on. This is so, it's so cut and dry.
I know.
They have in the testimony today, or I guess it's not testimony, in opening statements, they showed video or they showed still photos of Anthony Huber with his hands on the gun, trying to take the gun away. And he was saying that the state is going to try to argue that Anthony Huber never touched the gun because there's no DNA evidence on it. He's like, look, here's the photos from 3 different angles.
Well, I mean, who does it matter whether he touched the gun or whether he's like an inch away from touching the gun? Like, why does that matter? This is preposterous. And they also, it's funny because, and I watched the video a bunch of times, and it's true. It is hard to see whether he's hitting Kyle with the skateboard or whether the skateboard is just hitting Kyle because he's holding it and they're like in close proximity. And that's going to be argued, but they, like CNN and all these other outlets, they keep framing it like, Huber was holding a skateboard in one hand while he tried to grab the gun in the other hand. Like it's so one-sided.
Yeah.
And so disingenuous how it's framing in this chaotic situation where all these people are trying to attack this kid who's on the ground.
Yeah.
This guy who's trying to play. Well, it's that again. I don't know. That's not clear either because the video is very shaky. Like the moment of, at least the video I saw, the moment when he falls, there's like too many people in the way to see. It looks like there's someone near. Yeah. It looks like there's someone near him. So it's very possible. And I think the defense is going to argue that someone trips him or kicks him. Okay. So I don't even see why that matters anyway. Whether he trips on his own or whether someone kicks. I mean, I guess if they kick him, it would be even more in his favor, right? If he falls down. But
yeah, I don't think it really matters because even if he just fell flat on his face, the guy, jump kick man, comes there, like kicks him in the face immediately. Like, please.
I know.
And not only that, they do have video of some guy hitting him, and they showed this in the opening statement that you didn't see yet. The guy hits him and knocks his hat off, and earlier in the night,
that's before he falls, right?
Right. But earlier in the night, the Daily Shapiro guy who was following along noted that the guys had rocks that they had in their hands, which is why he's like, God, I don't want anything to do with these people. So they suspect that someone may have clocked him with a rock in his hand. And that's when he lost his hat.
Well, and it's possible if someone hits you in the head that because you're right, I forgot about that. He gets hit in the head or near the head. And then he runs like some more steps.
He
and
keeps
then he falls.
going, yeah.
Right, so it is possible someone hits you in the head that you can keep going for a little bit and then you fall because you took the damage and got disoriented. So, yeah, no, it's definitely possible.
It's a crazy, crazy situation.